Okay, great. So I'm Director of Communications and Marketing Strategy at the American Society for Microbiology, which is the oldest and largest life science organization in the United States. We have about 39,000 members, about a third of whom are outside of the US. And I know out in the audience there are a lot of society and professional organizations representing here in the House. So just don't leap at the table if I say something that doesn't represent you. You can correct it in the questions. So there are about 200 professional organizations or societies related to biology in the United States, according to a recent survey by the American Institute of Biological Sciences. So this is a significant number of organizations that are in this sphere. And ASM, like many of these organizations, when we ask our members, what's the primary reason that you join, and they say it's to network. It's really to have that peer-to-peer contact with the others. We're delighted that the first answer isn't to get the journal, which of course was something that we suspected might be true, but it's actually to do the networking. And like many organizations, ASM is facing some pressures. We have 11 journals and a couple of really large meetings, as well as the membership, and a number of these, not atypical to other organizations, are under some pressures. Of course, we all know what's happening in the publications field now with the move to electronic journals and more open access. There's a lot of complicated funding issues there, and that's one of the major revenue generators for our organization. So certainly challenging times. But one of the things that membership organizations do is really know their members. They are our first audience, and thinking about what their needs are, what they want is something that's foremost in the mind, certainly at ASM. And so I can certainly talk about our members, but there was a nice survey done back in 2010 by the American Institute of Biological Sciences that they recently released all of the information online in Biology for the 21st Century that has some results that go across a number of these different societies. So one of them is how influential are these for scientists? So most scientists belong to about 1 to 3 societies. As people get more senior, it might go up to 4 to 7. But most people are not involved in a large number of societies, really, if you think about it. And when asked what the greatest challenge is facing biology is to the scientists that are members of these organizations, the 2 top answers, I think, will really warm the cockles of the heart of the people in this room. One is public's lack of appreciation for biology, which of course is something that we're thinking a lot about today in some aspects, and then also decision makers not being informed about the issues. So for our for a lot of the members in these societies, the top 2 issues for them are things that are really relevant to the discussions that we're doing today. On the other hand, if they're asked how much do they participate in outreach, that survey indicated that about 3 to 7%, depending again on what their seniority are, spend about 3 to 7% of their time on informal outreach, and about 4 to 10% of their time on science communication. And I don't know in that survey quite how those 2 terms were parsed, but nonetheless, that's really a pretty significant amount of time given the size of the membership in these organizations. When you add it up, it's quite a bit. So, and it's very generous. So at ASM, I, like Rick, I'm fairly new to my position, so we're in the midst of a strategic planning exercise right now, but I'm going to talk about the approaches that we've been doing in the past. And I think that for many societies, basically, there are kind of 3 big groups of approaches. One is professional development. The second is providing opportunities and resources for scientists to interact with the public. And the third is to think about direct communication from the society. So in professional development, we do workshops and some webinars. Most of ASM's focus so far has been much more on public education, that kind of unidirectional model. But I know other societies and organizations are engaged in different kinds of ways. Public engagement, for example, is something that's a big emphasis at AAAS. So it ranges, and it'll be interesting to see where we go with that. In terms of opportunities and resources, a lot of what we've done at our society has been electronically. We have a podcast network. Our biggest one is TWIV, or This Week in Virology, but we also do This Week in Microbiology and This Week in Parasitism. So we cover, it's microbiology, folks. We cover the gamut, though. And with some, particularly TWIV has quite a large and significant following. We also have quite a significant video effort that we do with videos of different kinds of things. All of them can be found on our public outreach website, microbeworld.org. We also do some direct to the public in the room kind of things like science cafes and microbe after hours. In terms of the direct communication, most societies, in addition to, of course, trying to work with their members and give the members their opportunities, they also have their own issues and topics that they wish to communicate on. The mission of ASM is to advance the microbiological sciences as a vehicle for understanding life processes and to apply to communicate this knowledge for the improvement of health, environment, and economic well-being worldwide. So we want to do that in a larger sense for the field. And so we also do some communication direct to the public. One major way is through our academy. We have FAQs that we publish on a number of things. Our most recent one was on beer making, which is, of course, a very public-friendly topic. And it's quite fascinating. It's the science as well. So that's kind of an overview of the kinds of approaches that we've taken at ASM, and I think that also apply to other societies as well. People in the audience can certainly tweet out if you don't agree with me. But I think that there is a lot of potential and a lot being done in the professional organization sphere, and it is that way to be really member-centric, thinking about ways that we can help and empower our members to be better communicators. Thanks.